The planet Zarathea shone under twin suns, its cities filled with tall towers and glowing streets. Alien ships moved silently above, carrying their passengers to the palace in the heart of the capital. Inside the Grand Palace, Princess Mara stood in the Royal Academy's main hall. Her long silver hair caught the sunlight, and her sharp green eyes scanned the room with a mix of pride and boredom. Mara was known throughout Zarathea for her intelligence and skill. But she was also known for her cruelty. She often mocked students who struggled with their training. No one dared to challenge her, and many whispered about her arrogance. Today, she was watching a group of younger students practice their combat skills. One of the students stumbled, dropping a practice weapon. Mara's eyes narrowed, and she laughed. "Even a larval cadet could do better," she said. Her words cut through the hall. The students lowered their heads, feeling embarrassed. At that moment, a strange ship descended from the sky. It moved differently than the others, less sleek, but strong and steady. From its ramp came a human, dressed in a simple uniform, carrying a small bag. He looked around with calm curiosity. His name was Leo, a human envoy sent to Zarathea to learn about the alien culture and share knowledge from Earth. Mara noticed him immediately. Humans were rare on Zarathea, and she had never met one in person. Some of the older council members whispered that humans were clever but unpredictable. Mara felt a spark of interest mixed with suspicion. Leo entered the hall, bowing slightly to the Academy's instructors. "Greetings. I am Leo, from Earth," he said. His voice was calm, polite, and confident. He smiled at the students, who whispered to each other in amazement. Humans were taller than most Zarathians, with hair and skin different from theirs. "Is he here for training?" a student whispered. Mara stepped forward, folding her arms. "I am Princess Mara," she said, her voice sharp. "You are welcome to observe, but I expect you to follow the rules." Leo nodded. "Of course, Princess. I wish to learn from your academy and also share my knowledge. I hope to meet everyone." The students glanced at Mara, expecting her to humiliate him. But instead, she studied him silently, curious about how this human would behave. He did not look afraid, and that surprised her. Over the next few days, Leo observed the Academy's classes, sometimes taking part in lessons. He tried new exercises, learned alien technology quickly, and even asked questions about Zarathian history and culture. Mara watched him carefully, noticing that he did not compete to show strength or belittle anyone. Unlike many Zarathians, Leo treated the other students with respect. One afternoon, Mara found Leo in the training arena. He was practicing movement drills with a group of younger students, guiding them gently when they made mistakes. Mara frowned. "Why do you help them? They will never become strong," she said. Leo turned to her, smiling. "Strength is not only about winning. True strength comes from helping others and learning together," he said simply. Mara was silent for a moment. No one had ever said such words to her in a way that made sense. She was used to fear and respect, not kindness. Later, she watched as a student who had struggled before managed to complete a difficult maneuver. The student smiled at Leo, and for the first time, Mara noticed the warmth in teamwork. She did not admit it, but a small feeling began to grow inside her, a feeling she had never felt before. By the end of the first week, rumors spread through the academy. The human, Leo, was not only clever but also kind. Even Princess Mara seemed unsettled by his calm confidence. Some students began to hope that maybe they could learn from him too. That evening, Mara stood alone on a balcony, looking at the twin suns setting over Zerathia. She clenched her fists, thinking about Leo's words. Strength comes from helping others, she repeated silently. Could a human really understand something her people had never considered? For the first time, Mara wondered if someone could change her, if someone could challenge her pride in a way that force and skill never had. The training arena of Zerathia was vast, with glowing floors that changed color to mark the boundaries of practice. Students moved quickly, demonstrating their skills in combat, strategy, and agility. Princess Mara stood at the center, arms crossed, watching her peers struggle with the latest exercises. She enjoyed seeing the weaker students fail. It made her feel powerful and untouchable. Today, however, a new tension filled the arena. Leo, the human visitor, had joined the session. He carried no advanced weapons, only a simple staff and his determination. His presence alone drew the attention of everyone. Mara's green eyes narrowed as she observed him. Humans were untrained in Zerathian techniques, and she expected him to stumble. "Are you ready to be humiliated?" Mara asked, her voice sharp and commanding as she stepped toward him. Leo smiled calmly. "I am ready to learn, Princess," he said politely, bowing slightly. His voice carried no fear, only respect. Mara's lips curved into a small, confident smirk. "Then we shall begin." She lifted her staff and moved toward him with lightning speed. The crowd gasped as her strikes flowed like water, precise and strong. Most students could not even touch her before being pushed back. Leo, however, moved differently. He did not block every strike or match her speed. Instead, he anticipated her movements and shifted his weight at the right moment. He used his staff to guide her attacks away, not by strength, but by clever positioning. Mara's eyes widened. "You are different from the others," she said, striking again with full force. "I do not wish to fight for pride," Leo said simply, sidestepping her attack. "I fight to understand and to learn." Mara stopped for a moment, surprised by his words. His approach was unusual. Zerathians measured strength by power and dominance. But this human, small compared to her, moved with patience and focus. The match continued. Mara attacked harder, faster, and more aggressively than before. Leo continued to dodge and redirect, never showing fear. Students in the arena whispered, amazed at what they saw. Mara had never faced someone who refused to be intimidated. At one point, Mara aimed a spinning strike at Leo's head. He ducked, rolled to the side, and tapped her staff, guiding her movement without striking her. Mara stumbled, almost losing her balance. For the first time, she felt a small shock. She could be challenged, even defeated, not by power, but by intelligence. "You are clever," she admitted, breathing heavily. Leo smiled. "Cleverness alone is not enough. One must also care for others and think about their actions." Mara paused. Care for others. That was a concept she rarely considered. Her training always focused on winning, on being the strongest. She glanced around at the students watching her, some hopeful, some worried. Perhaps this human was teaching more than fighting skills. Finally, the exercise ended. Mara lowered her staff, her heart still racing. She realized she had never met anyone like Leo before. Not in skill, not in attitude. She did not want to admit it, but part of her was curious to learn from him. "You have potential," she said quietly. "Perhaps I underestimated you." Leo nodded. "Thank you, Princess. I have much to learn as well. Perhaps we can teach each other. Mara did not answer immediately. She turned away, looking out at the glowing horizon of Zarathea. The twin suns reflected off her silver hair, and for the first time, she felt unsure of herself. Could a human truly change how she thought about strength and leadership? The students began to talk excitedly among themselves. Some were inspired by Leo's cleverness, and some were surprised by Mara's reaction. The arena, once filled with tension and fear, now buzzed with curiosity and hope. That evening, Mara returned to her private quarters. She thought about the day's events and about Leo. He was not like the others. He did not demand respect or fear. Instead, he earned attention through calm confidence and intelligence. As she stared out at the glowing city, Mara whispered to herself, "Perhaps there is more to strength than I have known." For the first time, Princess Mara wondered what it would be like to change, to learn not just to be strong, but to understand and help others. The next morning, the Royal Academy of Zarathea was alive with energy. Students practiced their skills, some in small groups, others alone. Princess Mara walked through the corridors, her mind still filled with thoughts about Leo. She could not stop thinking about his calm manner, his clever strategies, and the way he treated others with respect. Leo had already started his morning exercises when Mara entered the training hall. He was helping a young cadet balance on the practice platform. Mara paused, watching him guide the students' movements patiently. She frowned. "Why do you waste time with them?" she asked, her voice sharp but quieter than usual. Leo looked up and smiled. "Because everyone has the potential to grow. Strength is not only measured by skill. Helping others is also a kind of strength." Mara frowned, unsure what to say. She had never thought this way. In Zarathea, strength meant being the best, being feared, and showing no weakness. Caring for others was considered unnecessary. Yet, seeing Leo and the cadet, she noticed how the students' confidence grew with encouragement. Over the next few days, Leo continued to teach in his quiet way. He introduced new training exercises that focused on teamwork. Students had to coordinate, watch each other's movements, and anticipate the needs of their partners. Some struggled at first, unsure how to cooperate instead of competing. Mara watched with mixed feelings. She wanted to win on her own, to prove she was the best. But she could not ignore how well Leo guided the others. He used small gestures, careful instructions, and patience to help every student improve. Even the shyest cadet started to shine. One afternoon, Mara approached him. "Teach me," she said simply. Leo's eyes lit up. "Of course, princess. But you must promise to follow the rules. You will need to listen, not only use your strength." Mara nodded. She realized that if she wanted to understand this human way, she had to change her own approach. For the first time, she felt a mix of excitement and fear. Learning meant admitting she did not know everything. The lessons began. Leo paired her with students she had often bullied. At first, she felt awkward. She wanted to take over and correct their mistakes immediately. But Leo reminded her, "Let them try first. Watch, guide, and encourage." It was not easy for Mara. She wanted to control every movement, to show she was stronger. But slowly, she saw something new. When she gave a student a chance, they sometimes succeeded in ways she did not expect. Their small victories made her feel something unfamiliar: pride, not in herself, but in them. During one practice session, Mara helped a young cadet complete a complicated maneuver. The student smiled at her, eyes shining with gratitude. Mara did not know how to react. She had never received thanks from anyone before. "Good job," she said quietly, her voice softer than usual. Leo watched from the side, smiling. "See? You can make a difference without fighting or proving yourself. That is real strength." Mara stayed silent, thinking. Could it be that strength did not come only from winning or being feared? Could it come from helping, teaching, and caring? The thought was strange, but it made her feel lighter, less burdened by pride. By the end of the week, the students began to notice a change. Mara still trained hard, but she began giving others guidance. She no longer laughed at mistakes, and she even encouraged teamwork during drills. Some students whispered in amazement, saying, "The princess is different." Even the instructors noticed. They had expected Leo's influence to be temporary, but Mara seemed to be learning, and more importantly, she seemed to want to learn. That evening, Mara walked to the palace balcony alone. The twin suns dipped behind the horizon, casting gold and orange light across the city. She thought about Leo and the lessons he taught, not only about fighting or training but about understanding and caring for others. For the first time, she felt a new kind of power. It was not the fear or strength she was used to. It was the quiet power of patience, understanding, and respect. Mara whispered to herself, "Perhaps being strong is not enough. Perhaps true strength is helping others grow." The night on Zarathea was calm. Somewhere below, Leo continued his work, guiding students and showing them the human way. And somewhere above, Mara began to wonder if a human could truly change the heart of a princess. The annual Zarathean Games had arrived. The great arena was packed with spectators from all over the planet. Towering screens displayed each event, while the air hummed with excitement. Today, students from the Royal Academy would compete in tests of intelligence, skill, and leadership. Princess Mara stood at the starting line, her silver hair gleaming in the sunlight. Beside her, Leo adjusted his simple uniform, calm and ready. "Are you prepared, Princess?" he asked, giving her a small nod. Mara frowned slightly but nodded. "I am prepared. Let us begin." The first event was a series of agility and strategy challenges. Teams had to navigate obstacles, solve puzzles, and complete tasks together. Mara had always relied on her own strength to win. She looked at the other students, remembering her past pride. This time, however, she hesitated. Leo had taught her that success required more than strength. The horn sounded, and the competition began. Mara's team moved quickly, but she noticed her usual impulse to control every step. She clenched her jaw, recalling Leo's advice, "Trust your team. Guide them, do not command them." Slowly, she started letting others take the lead. One student suggested a route through the maze. Mara considered it carefully before nodding. "Yes, try your way," she said. The students' eyes lit up, and together they advanced faster than Mara could have imagined on her own. Meanwhile, Leo worked with his team, offering gentle guidance and encouragement. He moved calmly, observing each member's strengths and weaknesses. Mara watched him, realizing how much she had learned from this human. Leadership did not mean dominating others, it meant helping everyone perform their best. The second event tested strength and endurance. Mara could have rushed through it alone, but she hesitated. She remembered the student she had guided earlier and encouraged the others to support each other. Her team lifted heavy obstacles together, passing challenges that she could not have completed by herself. By the final event, a complex test of strategy and quick thinking, Mara felt a new confidence. She no longer relied only on herself. She listened to her team, debated ideas, and made decisions with their input. The audience watched in surprise as the princess worked alongside her peers, not above them. Leo approached her during a pause. "You are doing well, princess," he said quietly. "I see how much you have changed." Mara did not reply immediately. She watched her team complete a difficult task with cooperation and precision. A small smile appeared on her face. "It feels different," she admitted. "Better than winning alone." The final challenge ended, and the judges announced the results. Mara's team did not come in first, but they performed better than many had expected. More importantly, her classmates cheered for each other, not just for her. Mara realized that the true victory was not in a trophy or a title but in their teamwork and mutual trust. After the competition, Mara stood quietly near the arena's edge. Students approached her, thanking her for guiding them and sharing her knowledge. Mara felt a strange warmth in her chest. This was not the power of fear or superiority. It was the joy of helping others succeed. Leo joined her, smiling. "You led them well, princess. I am proud of you." Mara looked at him, a small blush on her cheeks. "I could not have done it without you," she said softly. "Your lessons, they helped me see a different way." The crowd began to leave, the twin suns setting over the arena. Mara watched as the golden light reflected off the structures of Zarathea. She thought about her past, her pride, her arrogance, and her cruelty. She realized how far she had come in just a few weeks. That night, Mara returned to the palace balcony, gazing at the stars above. She whispered to herself, "True strength is not in dominating others. It is in helping them grow." For the first time, she felt a new kind of power, one that could change not only herself but everyone around her. And somewhere nearby, Leo continued his work, quietly guiding others, showing the human way, and teaching the princess that strength and kindness could exist together. Mara knew the journey had just begun, but for the first time, she was ready to face it with courage, wisdom, and a heart open to change. The peaceful skies over Zarathea were suddenly broken by alarms. The twin suns reflected on the city's towers as citizens looked up, worried. A rogue faction of aliens from the outer regions had attacked the capital. Ships swooped low, firing energy pulses at the city's defenses. Panic spread quickly, but the royal guards immediately organized a response. Princess Mara stood at the palace balcony, her eyes wide. She had faced challenges in the academy, but this was different. This was real danger, not a controlled exercise. Citizens were at risk, and the city's leaders expected her to act. Leo appeared at her side, calm as ever. "Princess, we must help the people. Strength alone will not protect them. Strategy and courage will." Mara nodded. She felt her heart beat faster, but she also felt a new determination. She remembered the lessons Leo had taught her about teamwork, patience, and helping others. This was the moment to put them into practice. The palace sent teams of guards and volunteers to defend the city. Mara and Leo joined one group, moving through streets filled with frightened citizens. Mara directed civilians to safe zones, guiding them with clear instructions instead of shouting commands. She saw the fear in their eyes and remembered how she had once laughed at students' mistakes. Now, she used her energy to calm and protect them. The rogue faction attacked in waves. Mara and Leo worked together to plan defenses. They positioned barriers, helped citizens escape, and used clever tactics to turn the enemy's strength against them. Leo stayed by Mara's side, offering advice calmly, reminding her to think clearly and trust her team. During one wave of attacks, Mara faced a group of enemy fighters trying to enter a residential area. Her first instinct was to push them back alone. Then she remembered Leo's words, "You are stronger together." She signaled her team. Each person took a position, supporting one another. The combined effort stopped the attackers without anyone being seriously harmed. Mara realized the power of unity. At another moment, a young guard hesitated under pressure. Mara ran to his side, guiding him to a safer position and giving him clear instructions. The guard regained his courage and helped protect a nearby street. Mara felt a quiet pride. She was using her leadership to strengthen others, not just herself. Hours passed, and the rogue faction began to retreat. Their strategy had been powerful, but they had underestimated the coordination and intelligence of Mara, Leo, and the citizens. The capital had been defended successfully, and the city cheered in relief. Mara looked around at the faces of the citizens and her team. They were tired, scared, but safe. For the first time, she realized what it meant to lead, not to rule through fear, but to inspire courage and hope in others. Leo stood beside her, smiling. "You did well, princess. The city is safe because of your leadership." Mara turned to him, a new light in her eyes. "I could not have done it without you," she admitted. "You showed me how to care for others, how to be strong in a different way." That evening, as the city recovered from the attack, Mara walked through the streets. Citizens thanked her for protecting them, some recalling her courage during critical moments. She felt a deep satisfaction. She realized that power was not just physical strength or titles, it was the ability to help others, to guide them, and to inspire them to be better. Back at the palace, Mara stood on her balcony, looking at the stars above Zarathea. She thought about the academy, the games, and the lessons Leo had taught her. She had changed. She was no longer the princess who laughed at weakness or bullied others. She was a leader who could protect, guide, and inspire. And somewhere in the quiet of the city, Leo continued his work, reminding everyone that courage, wisdom, and kindness could turn even the most difficult challenges into victories. Mara whispered to herself, "Strength is nothing without courage and care." I will never forget this lesson. The city of Zarathea was quiet the morning after the attack. Citizens moved through the streets with a sense of relief and renewed hope. News of Princess Mara's actions spread quickly. She had guided the defense, protected the vulnerable, and inspired courage in everyone. People whispered in amazement, saying that the princess had changed. Mara walked through the streets herself, accompanied by Leo. She observed the faces of citizens who once feared her, now smiling and showing respect. Some young students waved to her, grateful for the guidance she had given them during the academy drills and the crisis. Mara felt a deep warmth in her chest, a feeling she had never known before. "You have done well, princess," Leo said quietly. "Not just in the academy, but here. People see your true strength." Mara looked at him, a small smile on her lips. "It is not just my strength," she replied. "I could not have done this without your lessons. You taught me to think differently, to care, and to trust others." Later that day, the Royal Council organized a ceremony to honor the bravery of the city's defenders. Mara stood on the stage, her silver hair glinting under the sunlight. She could feel the eyes of everyone upon her: the council, the citizens, and the students. Some remembered the arrogant princess who bullied others, but now they saw someone new. One by one, students came forward to thank her. They spoke of the encouragement she had given, the guidance during drills, and the example she had set during the attack. Mara listened quietly, feeling something unfamiliar, humility. She had never received genuine thanks from anyone before. Each word filled her with pride, not in herself, but in the bonds she had formed and the people she had helped. The head of the royal council stepped forward. Princess Mara has shown courage, wisdom, and leadership beyond her years. She has protected the city, inspired her people, and demonstrated that true strength comes from understanding and care. The crowd cheered loudly, and Mara's heart swelled. After the ceremony, Mara found a quiet spot on the palace balcony. The twin suns were setting, casting golden light over the city. She thought about the journey she had taken from a proud, arrogant princess to a leader who could inspire trust and respect. She remembered the lessons Leo had taught her about teamwork, empathy, and courage. Leo joined her quietly. "You have changed the hearts of many, princess. And you have changed yourself as well." Mara nodded. "I never realized how blind I was," she said softly. "I thought strength meant fear, power, and dominance. But now I see that real strength comes from helping others, guiding them, and learning together." Leo smiled. "And that is why humans and aliens can learn from each other. Different worlds, different ways, but the same lessons about courage and kindness." Mara looked out over the city, seeing people walking safely, children playing, and students practicing together in the academy. She realized that the small changes she had made could grow into something much greater. Zarathia could become a society where strength and compassion worked together. That night, Mara returned to her chambers and reviewed her actions during the crisis. She made notes about what worked, what could be improved, and how she could continue guiding her people. She felt a deep sense of responsibility, but also confidence. She knew that she could lead with wisdom and courage. Before going to sleep, Mara whispered to herself, "I am no longer the princess who bullied others. I am a leader who can inspire, protect, and help." Leo watched from the doorway for a moment. He saw the change in her, the new confidence mixed with humility. He knew that her journey was far from over, but she had learned the most important lesson: true leadership came from the heart. Mara closed her eyes, feeling a sense of peace and purpose. The city was safe, her people were inspired, and she had learned the power of kindness and courage. For the first time in her life, she felt complete, not because of strength, but because of understanding. The twin suns disappeared below the horizon, and the stars of Zarathia shone brightly above. Mara smiled, ready for the new era she would create, guided by courage, wisdom, and the lessons of a human named Leo. The sun rose over Zarathia, casting warm light on the city that had seen both fear and courage. The streets were filled with citizens preparing for a day of work, study, and trade. But this morning was different. Today, Princess Mara would introduce changes that reflected her new understanding of leadership, strength, and teamwork. Mara stood in the central square, her silver hair glowing in the sunlight. Citizens and students gathered, curious about what the princess would say. Leo stood nearby, calm and supportive. He had watched Mara grow from a proud, arrogant princess into a leader who inspired others. Today would mark the start of a new chapter. Mara stepped forward and raised her hand. "People of Zarathia," she began, her voice strong and clear, "we have faced danger together, learned from each other, and discovered what true strength means. Strength is not only in power, but in courage, care, and teamwork." The crowd listened intently. Mara continued, "Starting today, the Academy will focus not only on skill and knowledge, but also on helping each other grow. Students will learn to cooperate, to guide one another, and to lead with understanding. This is how our society will grow stronger. The students cheered. Some looked at Mara with admiration, others with gratitude. The princess had changed, and her words reflected a new way of thinking. Mara felt a warm pride, not for herself, but for the city and its people. After the speech, Mara walked through the academy. She visited the classrooms and training halls, encouraging students to work together. She watched as they solved problems side by side, helping each other instead of competing alone. Mara felt a sense of fulfillment. She had once mocked these students, but now she guided them with patience and understanding. Leo followed quietly, smiling. "You have done something remarkable, princess," he said. "You have created hope, not only in yourself but in everyone around you." Mara nodded. "It is not only me. I have learned from you, Leo. Humans see strength differently. They see courage and care as power, and that has changed me." The day continued with demonstrations of teamwork, strategy, and innovation. Students and instructors presented new ideas for city improvements, ways to protect citizens, and methods to teach cooperation. Mara encouraged each suggestion, listening carefully and offering guidance. Her leadership was no longer about control, it was about collaboration. In the evening, Mara returned to the palace balcony. She looked at the city below, its streets filled with life, laughter, and energy. Citizens waved to her, smiling. She thought about the journey she had taken from arrogance to understanding, from pride to humility. She had faced challenges, learned lessons, and discovered the meaning of true strength. Leo stood beside her. "You have done more than I imagined," he said. "You have changed your world, princess. You have shown that humans and aliens can learn from each other and create something better." Mara smiled. "This is only the beginning. There will be more challenges, but I am ready. Strength with kindness, courage with care, that will guide Zarathia into a better future." The twin suns began to set, painting the sky with gold and orange. Mara took a deep breath, feeling peace and purpose. She had become a leader who could inspire, protect, and guide her people. She had discovered that leadership was not about fear, domination, or pride. It was about understanding, helping, and trusting others. Leo placed a hand on her shoulder. "The city is in good hands," he said. "You have learned well, princess. And your people will follow you willingly, because they believe in you." Mara looked at him, her green eyes shining with determination. "Thank you, Leo. You showed me the way. Now it is my turn to lead, to create a society where courage, wisdom, and kindness guide every action." As night fell on Zarathia, the stars shone brightly above. The city was safe, the people hopeful, and the princess ready for the future. Mara stood tall on the balcony, confident that the lessons she had learned would continue to shape her world. For the first time, she felt complete. The princess who once bullied others had become a leader who inspired, guided, and cared. Zarathia was entering a new era, one of strength, compassion, and unity, a future shaped by the lessons of a human named Leo and the courage of a changed princess.